In this week's Bleach, has Nanao found a way to beat Night Owl?
And we're here to tell you, it doesn't exist.
Bleach, Chapter 652, the theater suicide scene 6 picks up with Nanao wielding the 8-mirror sword to Night Owl, who is confused by her weapon.
He's got a sword!
He calls the sword tacky, and it's so bright he can't even see the blade.
Hooray for you! Fuck you! You're all pricks.
She explains that the sword reflects the ability of the god it's facing off against, meaning it's diffusing the light coming from his eyes. He's not sure what she's implying, but likes that he's being called a god.
You will bow down before me!
Nanao is sick of his chatter and jumps in for the attack, but Night Owl doesn't seem fazed.
This is boring.
Flashback to Nanao's mother, entrusting the Issei sword to Shunsui, promising him there's no misfortune that will fall upon him. But a little someone is listening in.
I think some people are eavesdropping!
Well, how rude of some people!
Flash forward to Nanao in the training academy, taking notice that Shunsui wears a woman's kimono and hairpins similar to her mother's.
Yeah, that's totally what a fag does.
Then we see a list of the graduates and what division they got into. Nanao is surprised to see she is in Squad 8.
Oh, come on!
She tells the good news to her relatives that took her in after her mother's death, but she explains that she couldn't make an Asauchi her own, so she focused on Kido, seeing as she was without a Zanpakuto.
Still think I'm useless?
But despite all that, she didn't get into the Kido Corps and was assigned to Squad 8, and once again meets the pink kimono-wearing man.
Who in the blue hell are you?
But she noticed he changed his Hiyori and removed his hairpins. However, she was certain this was the man she saw that day.
You are my number one guy.
Back to the present, where Nanao goes to cut Night Owl, but he blocks it with his arm.
You didn't think it was going to be that easy, did you?
He's surprised that the sword doesn't have a blade, as his arm scatters all over.
They took my squeezing arm!
He says she wasted her opportunity to kill him, and he makes a giant ball of light that will be the last thing she sees.
Oh, what a big man, resorting to violence as usual.
Cut to Shunsui having a flashback of his own, talking to Ukitake about how Nanao's mother was executed for losing the sacred sword of the Issei family.
He didn't know.
Then he talks about how everyone seemed to keep entrusting things to him, as we see his brother giving him the hairpins. Why do you think that is, Shunsui?
I'm nice. What else? That's it.
He wants to take charge of the sword once more in order to help protect Nanao.
Help me! Help you.
He's now behind her, holding onto the sword too.
Let's finish this the way we started. Together!
I thought this was a very well done chapter. We didn't get to see too much of the Holy Sword in action, but instead we got some much needed backstory. We learned Nanao never had a Zanpakuto of her own due to not taking control of her Asauchi, which is why she specializes in Kido. But despite that, she wasn't put in the Kido Corps and was assigned to Squad 8. Clearly, it was because Shunsui wanted to keep an eye on her, but didn't want her to catch on to him, so he wore a different kimono and took out the hairpins. To see her knowledge and admiration of Shunsui goes back as far as to the day her mother gave him the Holy Sword was nice to see. But fighting Night Owl on her own was pretty anticlimactic.
And I guess your best wasn't good enough.
For being such a lighthearted guy, I felt Shunsui had a pretty sad backstory. He was constantly having all this responsibility entrusted with him, and he truly feels it's his fault Nanao's mother was executed. With her and his brother dead, he had this huge weight on his shoulder to live up to the promises he made to each of them. But he's gonna pull through, as he will help Nanao wield the 8-mirror sword. I hope the two together are capable of taking out Night Owl, because I am seriously sick of looking at that guy.
You're a fucking asshole.
So I'll give this chapter an 8 out of 10. Nanao has her backstory finally told. Shunsui has a pretty dark past as well, but together the two will take down Night Owl. For my question of the week, will this Holy Sword come in handy at any point after this fight? Favorite comments always featured in the next review. Here are last week's winners. Alright, that does it for me. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. I'll be back next week with the tag team versus Night Owl. Peace!